A pleasant day, everyone, especially to you, Dr. Delina. I am Charlene Garcia Torres, taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Biology, second year. So this is my reader report about the standard deviation from group data using the midpoint method and the class deviation method. So I have here a 40 artificial score, this one, with the highest score of 35 and the lowest score of 5. So before we came up to this table, let us first find the range, the class interval, and the class setting. So to get the range, you have to subtract your highest score to your lowest score. So our highest score is 35, subtract it by 5 equals 30. So 30 will be our range. So the next is the class interval. So to work for the class interval, you only have to divide your range by the number not less than 10 and not more than 20, as if it is your class limit is not more than 10, I mean it's not less than 10 and not more than 20. So for now, we will be using 10 as our divisor. So 30, the range divided by 10 is equals 3. So 3 will be our class interval. Then next we have the class setting. So to work for the class setting, you simply get the 1/2 of your class interval. So 3 divided by 2, this one, 3 divided by 2 is equals 1.5. Then you have to add the 1/2 of your class interval to the highest score, which is 35. So 35 plus 1.5 equals 36.5. And you have to subtract. This one is you have to subtract the 1/2. This time you have to subtract the 1/2 of your class interval to the highest score. So 35 minus 1.5 is 33.5. So these two class limit will be our highest class limit, as shown in here, in the first column. So 33.5 to 36.5 will be our highest class limit. As we proceed, let us now work for our real limit. So to work for that, you have to subtract your class interval to your lower real limit. So our first our first real limit, we have 33.5. So 33.5 minus the class interval of 3 is equals 30.5. Then 30.5 minus 3 is equals 27.5. Then 27.5 minus 3 is 24.5. Then 24.5 minus 3 is 21.5. Then 21.5 minus 3 is 18.5, and so on and so forth. Then, next, we were to establish our higher real limit with the same process. Subtract the class interval to your higher class limit. Higher real limit. So 36.5 minus 3 is 33.5. Then 33.5 minus 3 is 30.5. Then 30.5 minus 3 is 27.5. Then 27.5 minus 3 is 24.5 minus 3 is 24.5. Then 24.5 minus 3 is 21.5, and so on and so forth. Okay, we are now to count our class limit to assure that it is not less than 10 and it is not more than 20. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have the class limit of 11. Since we already have the integral limit, we are now ready to tally the scores. So simply count the scores that belongs to this in this class limit. So we have a tally of 3 from the score 34 to 36, then a tally of 2 from 31 to 33, then a tally of 5 from 28 to 30, and so on and so forth. So the next column is our frequency. So to determine the frequency, just simply convert your tally into numerical form. After that, after converting this tally into numerical form, add all this value to assure that your number of cases is equal to your artificial data. For the next column is our midpoint. So again, remember, to get the midpoint, just add these two values, so then divide it by 2. So 34 plus 36 divided by 2 is 35. So 35 will be our midpoint from this limit. Then 31 plus 33 divided by 2 is 32. Then 28 plus 30 divided by 2 is 29, and so on and so forth. So for now, we were to establish our FM. So just multiply the frequency and midpoint until such time you will arrive to the product of FM. So multiply these two values. So 3 times 35 is 105, then 3 times 32 is 64, 5 times 29 is 145, 4 times 26 is 104, 2 times 23 is 46, and so on and so forth. After having all this product of FM, we are now to get the summation of FM. So all you need to do is add all these values. So 105 plus 64 plus 145 plus 104 plus 46 plus 100, and so on and so forth is equals 785. So 785 is our summation of FM. The next thing to do again is to multiply the midpoint and the FM until such time you'll get the FM2. So 35 times 105 is equals 3,675. Then 32 times 64 is 2,048. 29 times 145 is 4,205. Then 26 times 104 is 2,704, and so on and so forth. After that, again, add all this value to get the summation of FM2. So 3,675 plus 2,048 plus 4,205 plus 2,704, and so on and so forth is equals 18,577. So finally, we will be proceeding to our computation for the standard deviation from group data using midpoint method. So finally, we will be proceeding to the computation of the standard deviation from group data using the midpoint method. So this will be our formula for this method. SD is equals the square root of n times summation of FM2 minus summation of FM squared divided by n squared minus n. Take heed before substituting the value. Write first the given for we to easily disseminate this value to our formula. So we have the given, this one, n is equals the number of, the n stands for the number of cases, we have 40. The summation of Fm, we have 785. Then the summation of Fm2, we have 18,577. So the next step is to substitute. So just copy the square root. Then we have 40 n, 18,005 times the 18,577 for the summation of Fm to the second power, minus 785 for the summation of Fm squared, divided by 40 squared minus 40. So next step is just copy again the square root, then multiply the n and the summation of Fm2. So 40 times 18,577 is 7,403.80 minus the squared of this our summation of Fm. So 785 times 785 is equals 616,225. Then divided by the square of our n, which is 40. So 40 times 40 is 1,600 minus 40. So next step is to copy again the square root, then subtract this value. So 743,080 minus 616,225 is equals 126,885 divided by the difference of these two value. 1,600 minus 40 is 1,560. After that, divide this, get the quotient of these two value. Get the quotient of that two values. So just copy the square root. Then 126,885 divided by 1,560 is equals 18.317308. So the last step is to get the square root of this value. So the square root of 18.317308 is 9.2. So we have the SD of 9.2. So this time, we will be discussing the standard deviation from group data using the class deviation method. So as you notice, in this table, we have the same class limit as well as the same frequency from our topic earlier, which is the standard deviation from group data using the midpoint method. So for now, we will be working for our deviation. So for the deviation, you only have to choose an arbitrary origin, whether it is from the bottom, the center, or the top. So in this table, the center class limit was chosen. So you have to put 0 here, then above 0 deviation, we have the positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, and positive 5. Then below 0 deviation, we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. So for the next column, you have to multiply the frequency and deviation until such time you arrive the product of FD. So 3 times 5 is equals 15, then 2 times 4 equals 8, 5 times 3 equals 15, 4 times 2 is equals 8, 2 times 1 is equals 2, 5 times 0 equals 0, and so on and so forth. So after having the product of frequency and deviation, you have to add all this value, the above zero deviation, above zero, the positive value, then add all the zero, below zero value, which is the negative values. So 15 plus 8 plus 15 plus 8 plus 2 is equals 48. Then negative 4 plus negative 10 plus negative 12 plus negative 12 plus negative 15 is equals negative 53. After that, to get the summation of the FD, you have to subtract these two values. So 48 minus 53 is equals negative 5. So negative 5 will be our summation of FD. So for the last column is our summation of FD to the second power. Again, you have to multiply the D and the FD to get the product of FD2. So 3 times 15 is equals 75. 4 times 8 equals 32. 3 times 15 is equals 45. 2 times 8 is equals 16. 1 times 2 is equals 2. 0 times 0, of course, 0. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 10 is 20, positive 20, and so on and so forth. And lastly, we have to get the summation of FD2. So same process with the summation of FD. You have to add all your product of D and the product of your D and FD. So 75 plus 32 plus 45 plus 16 plus 2 plus 0 plus 4 plus 20 plus 36 plus 48 plus 75 is equals the summation of FD to 353. So this will be the summation of FD to 353. So finally, we are to work for our computation. So this one is our formula for the class deviation method. So ST is equals C for the C. Remember, C stands for the class interval. So C square root of summation of FD2 divided by N minus 1 minus summation of FD squared divided by N squared minus N. But before that, remember to write first the given. So we have the given of C, 3, the class interval we have 3, and 40, summation of FD, negative 5, summation of FD2, 353. So let us now substitute this value. So we have 3 for C, the square root, copy the square root, 353, the summation of FD divided by 40 minus 1 minus the summation of FD squared, negative 5 squared divided by 40 squared minus 40. Then next step is copy the 3 and the square root. Then copy your summation of FD2. Then subtract your n minus subtract your number of cases into 1. So 40 minus 1 is equals 39. Then minus the square of our summation of FD. So negative 5 multiplied by itself is equals 25. Then divided by the square of 40 is 40 multiplied by itself, or 40 squared, is 1600 minus 40. So this will be the next step. Again, just copy the class interval of 3 and the square root. Then you have to get the quotient of these two values, your summation of F3 and the difference of these two values. So 353 divided by 39 is equals 9.05128. Then minus, copy the 25 and get the difference of these two values. So 1,600 minus 40 is 1,560. Then copy again the 3 and the square root and copy this the quotient of your from these values. So copy 9.05128 minus just get the quotient. Same with the process here, just get the quotient of these two values. So 25 divided by 1,560 is 0.016026. Then for the second to the last step, just copy the plus interval of 3 in the square root and get the difference of these two values. So 9.05128 minus 0.016026 is 9.03500. I mean 9.035254. Then copy the plus interval of 3 and get the square root of this value. So, sorry, 9 is the square root of 9.0355254 is 3.00586. So for the last step in this computation for the class deviation method, get the product of your class interval to this value. So 3 times 3.00586 is equals 9.02. So our SD is 9.02. So now to determine whether our answer or your answer is correct or not, both answer of these two methods, which is the midpoint method and the class deviation method, must be the same. So as you remember, our computation for the midpoint method, we had the total value of 9.2, and our class deviation method, we had the total of 9.2. So that will be all. Thank you and God bless us all.